Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm reviewing this. This is the Majohn P136 Blue Metal. It's a pen that looks familiar. It's a pen that is an evolution of the P136 from Majohn, as well as being, inspired by a pretty famous pen. But today we are looking at this one. This was sent to me by EasyBuy, so a massive thank you to them. Link in the video description here. But yeah, today we'll be checking out this beautiful looking pen from Majohn. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all of that kind of stuff. If you're interested in joining this channel, I now have memberships available where for a small fee, you can join what I'm calling the stationery drawer. As a member of the channel, you'll get priority comments, you'll get early access to all my videos, you'll get members only content, and then once we've built up the community a little bit, I'll start doing some members only Q&As as well. But in the meantime, let's check out this Majohn or Moonman P136 Blue Metal. So here is that beautiful P136 Blue Metal from Majohn. This is an absolutely gorgeous pen. Yes, it is modelled off the Montblanc Solitaire Blue Hour. I think that's fairly clear to see. I don't own one of those. It is a Montblanc that I would love to own, but I don't. But I do have this pen here to show you its features. Now, yes, Majohn also had an original P136, this plastic version, which I reviewed a little while ago, and I had some issues with it. You can watch that review by finding it on my channel if you wish. But, it was, there's a few differences here and there. This isn't a comparison or a shootout, but, you can see plastic body, metal body, a slight difference in the, the cap bands and things like that. The blue metal, does post, which is great if that's something that you're keen on. So yes, let's talk about the parts and features of this pen today. So, top of the pen, it is a domed metal end there in this sort of chrome color. The cap is then on a clip, and it is a Montblancian sort of design. It is a perfectly functional clip. I have no issues with it, but I do feel like it would sort of bend out of shape without sort of too much effort. The cap swells to this center band that has like a polished line, a matte line, and then Majohn China engraved on it. Little step down slip cap there. And then the barrel continues along, tapers, and we get to the chrome covered piston turning knob. Now, this is a piston filling pen. I can't operate it because it is currently full of ink. But I do have the Majohn P140 here, which is going to be getting a review in the next little while. This is also a piston filler. Now, it'll be a slightly different mechanism, but the same principle applies. You dip the pen into a bottle of ink, and then you turn this knob on the end here. The piston goes down, and then when it's in the ink, you turn that piston back up, and it pulls ink up into the pen like a syringe or a converter, and the entire body of the pen is filled with ink. Lots of videos about how to do that all over YouTube, including my channel. But it's got a nice sort of chrome colored piston knob on this particular model. It is a twist cap and just over one turn by my calculations to uncap it. There's a little step down onto some metal threads, and you do notice those. They're not sharp, like they're not going to cut you, but you do definitely feel them. And then a metal section, which tapers slightly, flares, and then you get a number 6 Moonman branded nib. Majohn on the cap, Moonman on the nib. No wonder there's a little bit of confusion going around. And the plastic feed. And I have it here in a fine nib, and it's a two-tone silver and gold coloured nib. What's really striking about this pen is the finish here. Like you've got this kind of like a gouache or something pattern on the body of the pen, and then it's sort of resined over, so it's completely smooth. But the way the light catches that pattern in the metal material underneath is absolutely gorgeous. And I think the color difference between the blue and the chrome is really, really very beautiful. As I said, this is an absolutely beautiful pen, modeled off another pen, but an absolutely beautiful pen in its own right. And visually, to my personal taste, one of the most beautiful pens in my collection. So the lineup for the size comparison today, Lamy Safari, you see it's longer there, about the same width though. Then we've got the P136 plastic version original there, which, it's about roughly the same sort of size. And then the P140, which is a slightly bigger, more girthy pen model, more size-wise of the Montblanc 149. It does seem to be a bit of a trend with Moonman or Majohn, depending on where on the pen you look, to be sort of taking inspiration from these Montblanc pens, but then also in the same breath, like you can only make so many, design features of a pen. If you want round ends, if you want, sort of piston filling, things like that. But in terms of the finish on this one, that's probably where the closest resemblance really comes. Uncapped, you see they're all similar kind of length, maybe even slightly shorter there than the Lamy Safari, and that's totally fine. The number 8 size nib there on the P140 does sort of stand out alongside these sort of smaller regular size at number 6 nibs. And then posted, it's about the same length as the regular 136 would be if it posted on there, and slightly shorter there than the P140. Okay, time for the specific dimensions of the P136 blue metal. 146 millimeters when it's capped. It's 126 when it's uncapped, and 164 when it's posted. So it's a nice length. There is a little bit of back weighting though, I will say that. Around the middle of the section, about 9.5 millimeters, and around 14 around the widest point of the cap. The entire pen weighs 57 grams. This is not a lightweight pen. It is heavy. It is a bold pen in the hand. That 57 breaks up into 35 in the body and 22 in the cap. So you are putting quite a lot of weight on the back of the pen. I do write with this unposted myself. I prefer the balance. I'm not someone who needs to post my pens. I'm quite comfortable holding the cap or standing it up on the desk as I work. But it is a lovely pen in the hand, particularly in that unposted format. Time for a writing sample now with the Majohn. I'm going to put /Moonman because it's, it's both on the pen. P136 blue metal. Now this is a fine, and I've seen it with extra fine, and sometimes a medium. It's just a number 6 size steel nib. I haven't tried swapping the nib out, so I'm not exactly sure what it's compatible with, but it's that same sort of size as the standard number 6 nibs. The ink in this today is Waterman. Mysterious Blue, which is their blue-black. Awesome ink, nice match to this pen, and just a lovely, it's a really lovely pen to write with. Gorgeous. So it's smooth, a touch of feedback, but nothing sort of, nothing too much. Not a flex nib. You get a little bit of line variation out if you're careful with it, but I don't. Reverse writing is extremely sharp. Very, very fine, but not super dry, which is nice. In terms of general wetness of the pen, I would say this is on the wetter side, which is very, very nice. I've done a lot of writing with this pen. I've not had any issues with ink starvation or hard starts or anything. It's just always written. It's written reliably and really, really well straight out of the box. It's actually a real joy to write with, and I love actually writing with this for longer writing sessions because the weight in my hand actually feels very comforting. I don't get fatigue. I don't feel like it's a stress to write with. It just sits very nice and sort of heavy in your hand in a very comforting way. I enjoyed a lot. This is a wonderful pen to write with. A really, really gorgeous pen to write with. In comparison to the original plastic P136, which felt very light, it's a medium, but there's that stroke is extremely scratchy. You can see the difference in the quality of the ink flow. It's not, the most pleasant nib to write with, and I have done a little bit of work. I could make it much nicer with, a little bit more work, but once again, I have to work out if that's something I want in my collection, if the time to do that is valuable. Whereas this one writes beautifully as it is. I don't need to do anything. So the P136 blue metal doing lovely things on the page. When I logged on to the Etsy Easy Buy page today, the Australian price was around the $60 mark for this pen, which I think is remarkable because you're getting a pen that writes so well. It's a lot of pen for your money. Like, it's heavy, it's got nice finish and all that kind of stuff. It looks amazing. If you're wanting to buy a pen simply for aesthetics, to to give the impression of luxury, tell you what, you could do a lot worse than this pen at 60 Australian dollars. So what are the pros and the cons? Okay, so firstly, cons, aesthetically, I do not like the gold on the nib. I would just have that all a single silver tone, chrome coloured nib. That's what I would just do. I find that so much nicer. Obviously, the design is not entirely original. There is a big element of this taken from Mont Blanc. The other issue I have is that the threads aren't my favourite. They're a little sharp, they're a little clunky, there's a little slackness in them, but once they're locked in, they're locked in. And that, it does its job. The nib has remained wet. I've never had the cap come off in a case or anything like that. So what are the pros? Okay, firstly, it's a huge improvement on the plastic version of the P136. It posts, the balance is better, all that kind of stuff. The nib is super reliable. I've had no issue with it whatsoever. I've enjoyed writing with it. I think it's a beautiful pen. Absolutely gorgeous. I think the price point is very, very good at around 60 Australian dollars. And lastly, I think the size and the weight is just about right. I really love the feel of this pen in my hand. As I said, it sits heavy in my hand, but heavy in a very comforting way. Yes, the balance is a little off when it's when it's posted, but unposted, absolutely lovely. So thank you for watching this video. I think it's clear to say it's a beautiful pen and it writes really nicely. Once again, a big thank you to Easy Buy on Etsy for providing this pen and a range of other pens over the years for me to review for you. So please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button. And as I said, I'd love to see you in the stationery drawer, the membership part of this channel. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.